Today we're talking about basically AI with regards to regular giving and in payments to us. Though you can actually leverage AI for other parts of payments to us, not just for regular giving. So even if you're not utilizing regular giving as much, you'll still find today quite useful. I'm going to talk about a few things today. I'm going to discuss obviously the why we use AI, and I'll touch upon security as well. I will go through a live demo. And then I'll come around and talk about Agentforce licensing and pricing as well, just to give you some idea of the costs associated with this. And of course, at the end, there'll be a Q&A as well if you've got any questions. So the first thing to talk about is why use AI with payments to us. So there's some main reasons for this. It allows your donors to engage with you without adding extra complexity. It means that they don't need a portal or community to log in. You can guide them through simple, structured interactions that are going to reduce errors. They can make a whole range of requests, and it doesn't add any extra admin once you've set up the AI. And the great thing about payments to us is that we're going to be introducing some pre-built actions that then you can add to your AI, so you don't necessarily have to redesign it yourself. But of course, when we're talking about AI and also payments, it's always important to talk about security. It's front of mind when it comes to these things. So a couple of things to discuss is the interactions that we've built, particularly with AI, is that there is no personal details that are shared, i.e. like your phone number, your email address, your date of birth. It does request that information from the donor, but it doesn't share that information back with the donor. Also, sensitive payment information, such as the full credit card number and the CCV, are never asked for or stored. And if the donor does wish to update their card details, which you can do, it will actually send them an email that has a link in it to a secure payment form. And there's obviously some some security reasons behind that, but essentially we're not storing any of that crucial information. The last point I would like to point out as well is that Salesforce, they do call it their AI Einstein, Agentforce, it operates within your local Salesforce system. So it is built on a large language model, so it is built by Salesforce, but because it operates within your own Salesforce instance, it's keeping your data contained within your own Salesforce. Cool. Let's switch into the demo. So just bear with me one sec as I change screens. So this is our example website that we've set up for this demo. And you can see that down the right here, we've got the little chat box. Obviously, you can talk about, you can place this, and you can place this on your screen and things like that. But I'm going to just start off by clicking on that little chat, and you can see it popped up and said, how can it help me? So I'm going to ask, can I update my details? I'm going to keep it broad. That way I'm making the AI work. I'm not even going to put a question mark because, again, the great thing about AI is that it can understand these things and it can work with you on it. So I've just put in, can I update my details? And it's asking for a verification. So I'm going to put in, say, my last name, and I'll put in my email address. I'm not even referencing to what the name is and what the email address is. So again, you can utilize AI to have the smarts so it understands that you're providing a name and also an email address, and then it goes and searches your database. A couple of things to note here, it has found me, which is great. One thing I will note is that if there is a duplication, so say if there's two, let's say if I had my brother, for instance, in the database, and he had the same email address as me, hopefully he wouldn't, but if he did, it would actually then ask for more information to qualify that. So I'm going to come into here and say, can I update my phone number, please? you can see I'm going to purposely misspell phone. And that's again I'm good, sorry, jump back down. It'll understand that and pick that up. So it's asked for the number that I'm going to ask to request for. So I'm going to go 03 9000 and send that across. It's just confirming that this number is correct and accurate, and I'm just going to say yes. And you can see behind the scenes, it's then gone and it will go and create a case and log that with your team. Now, I'll take you through that in a moment. But the important piece here is that we've just gone and updated our details, and we haven't needed to be able to log. We haven't needed the donor to log in. They can all do this without any kind of login at all. I will get to updating the contact in the future in a sec. Just to reiterate, it can update the contact. However, in this particular case, we're actually getting to log a case because you may not always want the contact automatically updated. An example is obviously if you've got certain types of address information or phone numbers. It depends on the type of data you've got in your system and how you've got that set up. And you can also get AI to put the formatting in. But again, it all depends on how you'd like to leverage your system. Now, next step is I'm going to go, I would also like to update my monthly gift. So you can see here, because it's trying to work out what is my monthly gift. I might have many monthly gifts, in which case it will clarify that. But it also needs to identify. So it's asking for the last 4 digits of my card. So I'm just going to put in my test card. And you can see here, it's actually found my regular gift. Now, remembering it's combining with my last 4 digits. It doesn't have access to the whole number, but just the last 4 digits and also who I am. So it understands who I am, and now it understands which regular gift I want to update. So I'm going to go and say I would like to update this to 10. Now, this is where you can put some we put some guardrails into the questions, but this is one of them. So you can see here it's saying the new donation amount must be greater than your current amount of $80. And I'm going to say, whoops, it was meant to be 100. Now, if it was less than that, you can actually ask the AI to redirect the person to that someone in the office will contact them. But in this case, I'm just going to keep it simple and update the $100. I'm now going to ask, I'm going to go, hold on. Wait, and you can see I'm putting some random text in here. So AI is understanding this and picking this up and still giving us the correct answer. Wait, can I have my last receipt you sent me? So this might be a bit of a test because I haven't put a space in there, and I have worded it in a way that's not the most obvious. So you can see it's come here and found a few transactions, and it's provided me a list of transactions it would like to send a receipt for. Now, a couple of things to note about this: you can restrict how many ones that's going to show up and which ones. In this case, it's given us 4, so I'm going to send this one, and it's going to then let's see what it does. It goes and you can see it gone and sent off the receipt. Now, if you bear with me 1 sec. Just give me 1 second. I'm just going to stop presenting for 1 sec. And I'm going to open up that receipt so you can see that it sent it already. So you can see here that it's actually just gone and sent the receipt with the PDF. Now I'm just going to, again, stop presenting. So that's, you can see the time and date and the transaction. So it's gone and sent the receipt, the one I asked. So you no longer need they no longer need to call the office and ask for the receipt to be sent. They can just go onto your website and send it straight away. Now I'm just going to jump back into my window. So let's check out some of the actions that have happened in Salesforce. So the first thing is I'm going to jump into the home. I'm going to jump to the cases. So again, I think there was a couple of questions that popped up, and I know my colleagues are answering them, but just to reiterate, it can update the contact automatically. It's not something that we've designed it to do initially. And the reason for that is obviously, to begin with, you might want to isolate how this information is getting updated. And also you want to check the formatting and things like that and make sure it's getting that right. But you can see here, we've got the cases created, and you can see I've done this a few times. And you can hover over the subject and you can see what I've requested it to. And you can see for the contact details, it's got my mobile instead, and even update the email address. So you can see what it's from and to. Now, let's go into the contact record. And if I go into the regular gift, you can see down here, it's at $100, which is great. And if we look at the history, we can see that Einstein has changed it. Let's just go back to the agent for a sec and go, I've just suddenly realized I have a few bills this month. Can I skip my monthly, now of course typing it correctly would be good, monthly gift for this month, I'm going to say next month, because I think I've done it, I've donated this month. Okay. So I put that in, it's coming to help with that. Skip the next payment, or would you like to pause the monthly gift for a longer period? So you can actually tailor it how it's going to say this, and I'm just going to say skip the next payment. So we'll give it a sec. The next payment is successfully skipped, and your monthly gift will now resume in May. So if we have update the records and look at the history, and if we refresh this, we'll see it updated the record. Now, a couple of things you can see, I've been changing the dates around, so it's probably skipped it 1 month, but we'll, again, this is where some testing will help do that, but you can see previously it's updated the month correctly. So that's gone and updated the amount. It's gone and updated the next payment date. We've updated our contact details, and we've also been sent the receipt. So that's pretty cool. So let's delve into the back end of Salesforce. So what happens is, if you need to get to Agentforce, obviously it's got to be turned on. You go to the top right, your cog, you go setup, and you type in Agentforce. And then you click on your service agent. So in this case, I'm clicked on World Aid. So you put in a description and the role that the agent's going to play, and a little bit of information about your organization. But again, you could just actually utilize our ones for this. And for the company, I'm sure you've all got an about us information that you could utilize. A couple little things. You can change the welcome message as well. So you can actually direct the welcome message in the service agent to something else if you wished, and you can put an error message. But let's launch into the builder. So you just click on that button and it pops this open. And you can see there's 4 topics to begin with. You can obviously create more. There is other areas you can utilize Agentforce, but if we're just talking specifically with Payments2Us, we've got 4 topics to begin with. We've got contact and communication, donation impact and fees explanation. So that's something I haven't talked about yet. Receipts and statements, and regular gift information management. So contacts and communication. So I'll just go through these quite quickly, but it'll just give you an idea. So again, I put in a description and a scope, and I put in the instructions. But in addition to this, we've got the actions. So it's getting the donor details, it's creating the case, and then it's updating the case owner and adding a notification. For the donation impact and fees, and I haven't actually talked about this or tested this, given you a demo of this one, but this is pretty cool. This basically, if a donor asks what the impact is of their donation is going to be, it's actually going to go in and grab the campaign. It's going to grab the information from the campaign and come back and explain that to the donor. If the donor asks about the fees, it then also has instructions on how to describe the fees. So it can really be a platform that leverages with you. And with any of these ones, you can actually test it using the chat box here as well, and it'll actually take you through the actions that it's taking. Receipts and statements, again, this is what we went through. It's gone and sending out the receipts. So you can see here, it's getting the donor details. It's sending the receipt, but it's also got the ability to send an annual statement. So you can actually get an annual statement. It can actually send the annual statement to the donors through the website, which is pretty cool. And then lucky last, gift management. You can see there's a bit here, getting the donors details. It's updating, it can update the cover transaction fee if you wished. It's getting the reoccurring payment details and updating the next payment date. You can ask it to update the credit card information, so you can jump in back into here, for instance, and say, can I update my credit card details? And what it will do is, well, let's see what happens. It will come in and actually send that off as an email. And what it does, we'll flick through an email. I think it's just loading up. Here we go. Yep, so it's saying an email has been sent with your secure link to update your credit card details. Again, we don't want the details to be updated here. We prefer it to go through a secure link for PCI compliance and everything associated with that. Cool. I'm going to jump out of the live demo for 2 seconds. And I'll just jump back into our presentation. So a couple of quick things to talk about. Agentforce, which is their AI. You've got flex credits versus conversations. So I just wanted to quickly touch upon this. So a conversation is everything that we just had in that one window. That's what you'd consider a conversation. It's all happened all at once. And typically they're priced at $2 per conversation. So there is a pricing element to that. But you also have what we call flex credits, which is charged for each individual action the AI performs. So, those actions that I was taking you through, that's what the flex credits are charged at. And they're typically around 10 cents, but again, please speak to your Salesforce account executives. So an example for this might be the donor asked to update their details. The actions might involve retrieving the donor record, creating
Sorry, David. We can't hear you now. Yes.
It's cutting in and out.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can.
Yep, cool. I've just switched to my computer, so apologies. What point could you not hear me, can I ask?
Just the last point.
Okay. So I'll just quickly discuss flex credits and conversations again. So a conversation is obviously the entire conversation that we just had with the agent, and that's at $2 per conversation. And flex credits is each individual action the AI is performing, and it's typically around 10 cents per action. But again, don't quote me on those. It's best to talk to your Salesforce executive or your Salesforce partner. And an example for this is a donor updating the contact details. Could be retrieving the actions. Could be retrieving the donor record, creating a case for the staff to action, and obviously updating that case and notifying the staff member. So this is important for pricing. So basically, I believe with the donor pricing, with the Agentforce pricing, that the foundation actually comes with 200,000 credits to begin with, and after that, it's then priced. You can actually purchase additional flex credits. You can purchase conversations. You can actually purchase pre-built Salesforce agents as well, and work with that. But with the foundation, you get 200 flex credits to begin with. So it's best to reach out to your partner or your Salesforce executive and to get the pricing on that. I might stop there from the presenting and begin with Q&A because I've seen there's a few that have come through. Give me 2 seconds. And Cameron's just put in the pricing for Agentforce, the links to it. And also, if you are interested in this, please reach out to us through support at Payments2Us.com. And the reason for that is obviously then we can work with you to try and get this up and running for you. Sorry, just bear with me as I go through some of the questions. I'll shout out if you've got a question.
Yeah, there is one question from Craig. He noticed that agent called you David when you started the conversation, but you only provided like email address. So how does it identify whom it's speaking to?
Yeah, so I put in an email address and also a last name. So it was using that information to then search the donor database for people who match that contact. If there was more than, say, one person with those details in it, it would then ask for further information, which could be mobile number, the donor ID, for instance, is also another one. So it's all those details that you're using to match your payments in the first place.
We have another question about can we allow donors to change their recurring payment from credit card to direct debit?
That's a good question. Not currently in our Agentforce, though I can't see a reason why that can't be built, but it's not something that we have currently tested yet.
Next question is from Emma. What amount of customer interaction warrants moving to this functionality for ROI? Do you have any examples of time manual versus AI taking to process those requests?
Currently, no. There's a couple of things around that. It obviously depends on what your AI is doing. So what it can update and what it can do is going to involve how much you reduce your time. It's also going to depend upon how you communicate this with your donors. Obviously, you can put it on the website, but there is ways that you can also, when you speak to donors, when they interact with you more and through your website, then they're going to understand this, that they can actually do these things themselves, which is going to obviously increase the efficiency in time. But I can't answer that straight off the bat without more information. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and there is one question from Brian. So it will be available including in our 1320 annual fee, and then on a per transaction fee. It's basically like asking about the pricing for this option.
So The Agentforce pricing, so we've released the actual AI actions through the product so that they're available for you. But I suspect that you might need some support in regards to actually implementing it, in which case I'd suggest reaching out to your Salesforce partner or to our support. And you can put in the subject line Agentforce, and then we can talk to you about what actually you want to get AI doing, and then can talk to you about pricing and in that regards about setting it up. With regards to the credits and what Agentforce, again, that would be best to discuss with your Salesforce account executive. I can't answer them for them, I'm sorry. There were a couple other questions I've just noticed that I've noticed as well. So I know that Betty, you asked if you can decrease your donation. So we've put a guardrail that you can't, but you can obviously remove that guardrail and actually allow the person to decrease their donation if they wished. So that is an option. I think I think it was Rini, you asked about what prevents someone else trying to update my details. Again, there's a couple of conditions here. We're identifying you first, so you can't just randomly update somebody else's details. Two, another thing is that we're logging a case. So it's logging that information and checking it. But what we're doing is we're checking you first and then asking for what details you need. So you can't just randomly go and update someone else's details. Another important point to note that is the receipt it sends it based upon the payment transaction that already has identified connected to that person in the system. So it's not going to be sending a receipt out to somebody else.
Sorry, you are on mute.
Sorry, was there any other questions out there? I can see another one. Can you send yearly tax statements? Yes, you can. Annual statements you can send. That becomes part of the actions. So with regards to the ability to add more identification options, you can actually do that too. So again, in the actual AI builder, you can actually identify, add more actions in regards to like more IDs that requires to make sure it's picking up the right person. So in some instances, you might want it to be their last 4 digits of their card number, their last name, their mobile, and their email address, for instance, and even their donor ID if you wished.
Can you show the agent page again? George just wants to see the web page with the agent loading.
Yeah, your sample company, where does the client access the agent?
So it will basically reside on your web page itself. So you have your organization will have your own website, and you can integrate that AI in website itself. So whenever someone reaches out to your website, they can have that option to chat with AI.
Okay, so there'd just be a URL, or is it a frame, or what would our webmaster, our web developers have to do?
So once you set up that AI, you'll get like some code that you need to put in your website. And once you put that, it will automatically start showing up. There are a couple of, this will be part of setup, and there will be guides on how you can integrate that.
Thank you.
Yeah, and if I may add, like web admins would typically need like 15 minutes for, the putting the script on your web page. And with the on the contact us page, if you want to limit the amount of calls or interactions you're getting from your donor team is getting, you could potentially put something there. You calling for changing your credit card details or updating the amount and things like that, and then that link then opens up the AI bot. That's another idea.
Just because I realize it's 12:31, so I shouldn't hold up everybody too much, but just a couple other things to think about. This is sort of just the beginning of what we can do with Agentforce. And obviously, if you are interested and you have some other examples that you would like to contact us about, please also let us know. There is an element that we can obviously expand this with memberships as well, in addition to certain more items associated with regular giving. Well, I think we actually got quite a bit of regular giving and donations, but events and memberships would be too as well. Thank you for joining us on this webinar. Hopefully you found it useful. Hopefully it's not made AI a bit too scary for you. And you can see that it is actually quite easy to build once you've got some guidance. And yeah, reach out if you're interested.